Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here in Antwerp with yet another brew review, and as promised I have something special to finish off this Baltic Porter week. Unfortunately it is not another Baltic Porter, but we have had 4 Baltic Porters, and this is a specialty beer by basically Anthony Martin's Finest Drink Selections, who owns the Timmermans Lambic Brewery, one of the oldest ones in the world. I think it's even the oldest, dating back to 1702-ish. And also Guinness. However, this still fits the row of porters because this is not just a blend of Timmermans Lambic and ye olde Guinness as we know it. This is actually a blend of 3 beers. First off, Timmermans Oude Kriek, so cherry beer, and in this case this is the 2022 harvest. The 2022 harvest. Why? Because this is barrel number 8. This is about 2 years ago that 1.5 years ago that I bought this. It is the 2024 winter release. But more on that later on. So Kriek Harvest 2022, and that is blended with, on one hand, the Guinness Special Export, the stout that we know, the one with the yellow label that we can find in Colorado, for example, here in Belgium. And on the other hand, another Guinness beer, and that is the original Guinness West Indies Porter. And I think that the special export dates back to 1944, 45-ish, end of the Second World War, when Anthony's grandfather, John Martin, started experimenting with new beers. Now, the Porter one actually dates back to early 1800s. Now, I am very curious for this because I have had this for over a year and a half, almost a year and a half, and I haven't tasted this ever, so this is gonna be my very first one. And you know that I am a sucker for nice and cool packaging, so let's go over this box. We do have a beautiful color scheme here, black and gold, for all you Dropkick Murphys fans out there. Black and gold, we wave the flag. No, black and gold with red, beautiful on this label as well. I like that there is not too much on here, and it is indeed a limited release, although I don't have an idea on what size the limit is. It has some extra info. For example, it is brewed and bottled at Timmermans themselves. Now, John Martin, or Anthony Martin I should say, owns several breweries and a lot of bars and hotels and stuff. So it could have been anywhere, but this in particular is made and bottled at Timmermans themselves. What else does it say? Well, it holds a bottle, a 37.5, and a taster glass, and a beautiful glass, might I add. It gives a little explanation about the collaboration between Guinness and Timmermans. Now, Guinness is not owned by the Martin family, but they are the main importer in Belgium, but for a part of Europe. So, Guinness and Timmermans created an amazing blend of specialty Guinness beer with Timmermans Oude Kriek. Every year the harvest of the cherries and the terroir of our Lambic will come together with Guinness and become an exclusive collaboration beer in limited edition. A unique dark beer with a subtle pink hue in the foam, aromas of chocolate, oak and cherry. And actually there's a spelling error here, it's cherry. I don't know if that is intentional. I'm guessing no. Full flavored and beautifully balanced. Discover the 2023 edition. Oh, I thought this was the 24 edition. Cool. So yeah, Lambic year 2019, barrel number 8. That is the foeder that the Lambic ages in. And then Kriek Harvest 2022. Of course, it is an Oude Kriek. That means that it has a young Lambic, 1-year-old, and old Lambic, 3-year-old. blended together to make an old Geus, an Oude Geus, and then added cherries, macerated that to make an Oude Kriek, and that is the difference between a regular Kriek and an Oude Kriek. The history of the heritage listed Timmermans Brewery dates back to 1702. Apparently I was right. It is the oldest lambic brewery in the world and continues to brew lambic in the traditional way in original copper vessels. Actually, I would very much like to visit them someday. But since they work together with a brewery that I am familiar with, I should be able to fix that. Like I said, someday. Oh. Ah. Ooh, there is a divider in here, and it is pretty snug. There we go. So, the bottle and the aforementioned glass. A bit dusty from being in the cellar. But yeah, beautiful teardrop glass. Nice taster glass. I actually believe that these are the same shape glass that they use for tastings in Pressoria in the Champagne region in France. Also, recommendation there. Okay. So, enough about the packaging. So about the beer, like I said, the special export Guinness Stout and the West Indies Porter, quite self-explanatory. I will be talking about both of those beers on a later date. Blended together with the Old Kriek by Timmermans, and that results in a 6% specialty beer. I don't know how to call this. Okay, and this is the same explanation that it has on the box. Ingredients: water, barley malt, cherries, roasted barley, wheat, sugar, hops. Okay. Without further ado, let's check this out. Now, this does have a plain black muselet, but it does have a branded cork, as Timmermans uses those for their own lambic and Geus as well. Ooh. This is still wet, a lot of vapor in here, so still very lively, but it has a best before date of August 27, so we are basically in about half of its shelf life. Okay, first off, I expected this to be redder, but it is a beautiful caramel brown. Nice effervescence, nice purling from the bottom of the glass. Yeah, beautiful color. Oh, and in the thicker part, that's where we get that deep cherry red. Reminds me of Fender guitars, candy apple red. So far, this really looks like an old brown to me. Also, nice dark beige foam, thick and dense. Okay, I did help it out a bit, but nonetheless, very, very nice. And you might notice that I'm not capping this off. It's a 37.5. It's the only one I'm recording today, so I am not keeping this to share with friends later on. This is gonna be all me. If I like it, of course. Ooh, a very interesting aroma. I get a combination of malts, slightly toasty, a bit of cherries, mainly acidity, a tiny hint of vinegar, a bit of lemon there as well. But of course we are talking Lambic and even Oude Kriek, Old Kriek, so that's no surprise. Also smells a tiny bit dank, a bit like rubbery or plasticky. However, it is still pleasant, which is weird. Okay. And like I said, beautiful glass. I love this. Yeah. Cheers. Let's have a taste. Oh yeah, that is special. Less sour than expected. It's actually really refreshing. It's not at all sweet, but it's not too bitter either or too sour. It is actually very balanced, which comes as a surprise to me. It's also not like a thick standard stout. It's a nice combination. It is a lovely mouthfeel, lovely density, nice carbonation. I'm getting coffee hints, but it's more like a latte macchiato, for example. So very soft, creamy coffee touches. A bunch of chocolate in there, which is also very pleasant in combination with those cherries, of course. Now I did laugh earlier this week, I think with Moonlark. Yeah, with Moonlark, with the Polish cherries that I was drinking, Mon Chéri. But this comes closer to that actually. And it just struck me that the odd off smell that I'm getting is because I dusted this glass. I didn't rinse it, so it will probably still be the coating on there and not the beer. Oh, but this is really lovely. Very, very pleasant. Looks beautiful, smells nice. And it really tastes very interesting in a nice way, in the best way possible. So like I said, refreshing, fruity, slightly citrusy, slightly sweet, but not really. It's like sour and sweet. And the aftertaste is really interesting as well. Again, I am getting chocolate covered cherries, but not the sweet kind, which is plus. I should have discovered this earlier. Why did I wait this long? Yeah, I think that I'm gonna score this a 4.25 because all the pieces of the puzzle fit together, and I think it's a lovely combination. I think it's a nice experiment, but I think it is very well executed as well, which, yeah, earns a lot more points in my book. So the combination is altogether great. Now, of course, the fact that it is in a nice gift box with this beautiful bottle, the gold lettering, and this lovely champagne tasting glass, an 11 centiliter, which is a weird size. But fun fact, I bought this in Luxembourg where it was only $9. I think here in Belgium it's about 12, which is still not a lot. But at this price point, like I said, $8.99 I believe in Luxembourg. I've had worse beers for way more money. So yeah, that's it. A 425 on this Guinness and Timmermans collab. The West Indies Porter meets the Guinness Special Export Stout meets the Old Creek by Timmermans. Lovely project by Anthony Martins. Can't say a lot more about this. 425 it is. So after all this being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Same goes if you have any questions or remarks. And if you want to support this channel, share a video, visit the Patreon page, buy me a beer, whatever, subscribe to the newsletter, and I will see you guys again on Wednesday with another video. Cheers.